accusation, but it is not backed up by evidence. Show me where we believe in 12 gods.
Put that at the same angle that a driver would be seated. Let's take a look at the guns we're going to use. Here we have the Glock 19 9mm using hollow points, Glock 27, 40 Smith & Wesson, hollow points, SIG P220, 45 model, hollow points. All right, let's go. I'm only going to be about 6 yards away, so if somebody was shooting at the windshield of your car. Here we are, center of mass. There's what a 9mm will do to a windshield, and if we look at the point of impact, it's about 2 inches below the X. Now there's also another part in here that's not penetrated, but just for fun, let's take this 9mm right here and aim for a headshot. Woo! Felt some of that come back. Close and personal creates a little more play on the glass. You can see that compared to the other ones. Boy, oh boy. Not sure where it landed. Don't see it around the head at all. It definitely hit somewhere, though. That thing went flying off. It'll really be interesting to see what 45 auto does. Let's shoot on a cleaner piece of glass. Okay, I'm moving over to this side. Gonna go on the right side of those 2 holes with 45 auto. 45 auto, 9mm, 40 Smith & Wesson. All clean holes, all essentially the same size. But look at this. If you can look right through there, there's the hole from the 45 auto. I don't see any bullet drop at all. I did shoot it at an angle. 1 clean, solid shot, 45 auto. So let's take a look at the 40 Smith & Wesson, see what's going to happen. I'm going to place this right above the 9mm shot. All right, let's take a look. Looking at the 2 shots, we can see 9mm right here, 40 Smith & Wesson right there. The bullet point of impact did not drop at all. Actually, it was right where I was aiming. The interesting thing is that there are 2 holes they shoot. Let's all remember, none of this says that the 9mm is as good or better than the 40. They say that the new technologies in 9mm make it far more powerful than the old 9mm. That's true. It doesn't make them as capable as the 40. They aren't changing the law of physics. The heavier, bigger bullet of the 40 is going to be able to do more damage at comparable speeds than the 9mm ever will be able to do. It's going to be better at certain tasks that the 9mm will never be good at no matter how fast you throw it at something. That's just the laws of physics. No one's going to change that. You can't be simply saying that to say the 9mm is better than the 40 Smith & Wesson is just not true. In fact, the 40 Smith & Wesson can do a lot of things better than the 9mm. One of those things is hard barrier penetration. When it comes to hard barriers, 9mm will never perform as well as 40 Smith & Wesson, especially
the cinder box. And I'll shoot the target on your left with the 9mm and the target on your right with 40 Smith & Wesson. And in this case, the ammunition for both will be Winchester white box full metal jacket ammunition. For the 9, I'll use 115 grain, and for the 40, it's 165 grain. And we'll shoot from 15 yards.
But a lot of people don't think about hard barrier. A lot of people just look at gel testing. They think that tells them a lot about a round. Gel testing is one of the worst ways to tell about a round and what it'll actually do in the real world. Gel testing will basically tell you how well a round will perform if a guy is really fat and it's got to go through 10 or 12 inches of fat before it hits bone or muscle or anything. I hate when I see otherwise reasonable people do ammo testing and then they say, oh, it penetrated too far to gel, so I would never use it. It'll go right through 2 or 3 people. That's not true at all. Gel is nowhere near the consistency of the human body, not even dense muscle tissue, much less bone. And all rounds that perform the same in gel wouldn't perform the same in a different substance. All that gel testing really tells you is how quickly rounds lose velocity and energy when they're met with consistent and continuous resistance, and gives you a good reference point so you can compare them all together in the same substance. It does not really simulate the human body. In fact, there's lots of people out there that have done real-world testing, like Tim from TheFireArmGuy, who said, they say this round penetrates too far. It'll go way through a living object. Then they go out and shoot a pig with it, and they find out it doesn't penetrate anywhere near what it does in gel. So stop thinking gel testing is the end-all, be-all for ammo testing. It isn't even close.
6 layers of clothing to go through before the bullet can get through the lung and hit the heart. So we'll start with our 9mm, and the ammunition we'll use is the Federal 115 grain jacket hollow point, and we'll shoot from 7 yards. So with our Federal 115 grain jacket hollow points, I fired 3 shots, recovered all 3 bullets, and the hollow point expansion was very good, and I'll show you a close-up of that in just a minute. But let's look at the results of our autopsy. Our ham arm is annihilated. But as far as the penetration goes, of the 3 shots, 1 is still stuck in our lung. Another one shot over the heart and went into the adjacent lung, but without significant damage. The 1 bullet that actually hit the heart, you can see is just stuck in our plastic pericardium. It didn't penetrate at all. So although it did hit the heart, it would not have done any more damage than the famous Miami-Dade bullet did. Now let's take a close-up look at the hollow point expansion. So with this Federal 115 grain jacket hollow point 9mm ammunition, the expansion is very good. Its penetration, questionable. Now we've got our meat target put back together. We'll shoot it with the 40. We'll use the Federal 180 grain jacket hollow point. So we've got our meat target disassembled. Let's see how the Federal 180 grain 40 Smith & Wesson rounds did. Well, in terms of the standard being, did it penetrate the heart? I fired 3 shots, and now this heart has 3 bullet holes in it, one of which went through pretty close to the center. Bullets went through the adjacent lung. Now I lost 1 bullet, but the other 2 are actually lodged in the ribs on the opposite side. I'll show you a close-up of them in just a minute. So what we see here is sufficient penetration, and the bullets being stopped on the opposite side would seem to be optimal. Now we lost 1 bullet, but since the other 2 are stuck in the ribs, we have to presume that the 3rd bullet passed through with almost no energy left and would have been pretty much no danger to anyone. And for our 40 Smith & Wesson Federal 180 grain jacket hollow point bullets, the expansion is quite good. Now we're back to the 9mm. Let's try our other type of ammunition, the hornbeat critical duty ammunition. As where the Federal was 115 grain hollow point, this is 135 grain ballistic tip. Now the concept is, being a ballistic tip, it won't be encumbered so much by the clothing, and with a heavier bullet, it should retain more energy and give us more penetration. Let's see if it really does that. So with our 9mm critical duty ammunition, we see once again, the arm is pulverized. Where the bullets hit the ribs, broke them. Of the 3 shots I fired, 2 actually hit the heart, 1 just nicking the edge, and the other one getting 100% penetration through our heart. All 3 bullets were lodged in the lung tissue on the opposite side. 1 achieving complete penetration and being hung up in the edge, none actually hitting the ribs at all. So they didn't seem to penetrate 100%, but as far as the standard of going through the heart, absolutely. Now we'll try our 40 Smith & Wesson critical duty ammunition, which is 175 grain ballistic tip. So with our 40 caliber 175 grain ballistic tips, how do we do? Well, pulverized our arm, no surprise there. So with our 40 caliber 175 grain ballistic tips, how do we do? Well, pulverized our arm, no surprise there. penetrated the ribs. Where it hit the ribs, broke them. Interesting thing, I fired 3 shots, 2 of which are stuck in the heart. They were between the 2 halves of heart. The expansion of these 2 ballistic tips was very good, far better than the 9mm ballistic tips. But as far as penetration, 2 of the bullets were in the heart, the third is lost in the opposite side lung, and none made it through the ribs on the opposite side. And here's the 2 40 caliber critical duty rounds I recovered. I didn't show a close-up of the 9mm because the expansion was almost none. So what did you take away from today's presentation? Well, first I'd say as far as the power of these 2 rounds, you can argue the relevance of shooting cinder blocks or soda jugs, but it'd be hard to argue that shooting those things is fun. And on the cinder block demonstration, we saw that the cinder block was reduced to rubble by the 40 with roughly half as many rounds as it took to get the same result with the 9mm. Obviously, the 40 is more powerful in cases like that. As far as the soda jugs, if there was a difference, it wasn't very much. But the real meaningful demonstration was the meat target. And as we can see, the 40 made bigger holes, did more damage, and penetrated more. By the standard of, did the bullet reach the heart, the federal 115 grain 9mm rounds failed to do so in any meaningful way. The critical duty rounds were absolutely more effective in terms of penetration, but their expansion and their damage to the tissue just wasn't all that impressive. Again, not nearly as much as the 40. So the idea that there's been great strides forward in bullet technology, allowing the 9 to be more effective today than it once was, yes, that seems to be true if you buy the right kind of ammunition. But as far as the 9mm being of equal power to the 40, and will it have equal stopping power, by today's presentation, I would have to say no, it does not. So what it is, it's full power. Let's go ahead and shoot a couple rounds. You can see, it puts them right in the middle. That's a 40 Smith & Wesson, full caliber. It's pretty much my, what I'm going to go to gun, okay? I hope there it is.
You don't want to have lightweight, high-velocity bullets. You want to have heavy, deep-penetrating bullets. And that's where sometimes looking at the velocity figures and the energy figures can sometimes delude you. There's not enough velocity, no matter what it is, in a handgun bullet to cause any great amount of destruction. You're still only talking about 1,500 feet per second, so it's not an awful lot of velocity. What you need to have is somewhat more modest velocity, but very deep penetration, and if possible, something that's sufficient to get out the other side. The tissue destruction we're talking about here is lung tissue. All right, we don't want to be just destroying any tissue. It's lung tissue is what we're talking about here. Heart tissue is a very small thing to shoot at, and deer can run for hundreds of yards being shot through the heart. My dear friend years ago shot he shot a beautiful doe, 150-pound doe, big doe, right through the heart with 180 grain 30-06, shattered the heart completely with nothing but strings of tissue when he dressed out the deer. But that deer went through the entire cornfield, 300 yards long, before it ended up at the stone fence at the other end of the pasture. So deer can run a long, long way with with a heart shot. So you want to penetrate lungs as far as you can. Lungs succumb not only from tissue destruction, which is rather modest with a handgun bullet. A handgun bullet doesn't shatter the lung tissue like a high-velocity rifle bullet does. Lungs are filled with a lot of fluid, a lot of blood, and a lot of fluid. When they're struck with a high-velocity bullet, they burst, and they basically come apart at the seams because it's the same type of thing as hitting a jug of water. There's a lot of fluid, and it just basically blows up. But a handgun bullet does not hit them that way. A handgun bullet hits them, and they basically have to penetrate through, and they leave a hole, and they cause hemorrhaging. But the biggest factor of all is to be able to get out. If you can get it out the other side, it will cause the lungs to collapse because the chest cavity, the thorax of the animal, will deflate when the atmosphere basically neutralizes it. The atmosphere pours, the outside atmosphere pours into the thorax. And as military people know, you get a sucking chest wound. A sucking chest wound is a very bad thing to have. You got to stop it up real quick and get a piece of plastic over it or something to stop it from sucking. Otherwise, the person's lungs are going to collapse. But that's what happened with a bullet that goes all the way through. It basically opens up that thorax. The outside air neutralizes the chest cavity, and the lungs collapse, and that's what brings about the quicker halt for the animal. It gets him to stop in a hurry because he can't breathe anymore. So it's very essential to have a good size, good length bullet that can penetrate all the way through. Well, as I say, it's about disrupting the lungs and stopping, ceasing them from functioning. Getting air in the other side will effectively bring the lungs to a very painful cessation because they're going to collapse. There's nothing more painful than collapsed lungs. Ask anybody who's ever had that happen to them if they've ever had a lung collapse. It's extremely painful. I've known people who've had that happen for one reason or another. It's extremely painful. You're going to stop people. The reason why.
A few days back, actually a few weeks back, in a live chat, someone asked me, do I find it funny when people who choose the 40 Smith & Wesson as their carry round will often say they chose it because it's a great compromise between the 9mm and the 45. And you know what? I do find that funny when people say that, and I do hear people say that, because the 40 Smith & Wesson is not a compromise between the 9mm and the 45 ACP. It is more powerful than the 9mm, and it's more powerful than the 45 ACP. It just is. It's not anywhere in between the two at all. It outperforms the 45 ACP in pretty much every way. Now, the 45 ACP can often handle a heavier bullet, but when you factor in the lower velocities, that heavier bullet doesn't hit with as many foot-pounds as the lighter bullet does out of the 40 Smith & Wesson. Like 165 grain 40 will hit harder than 180 grain 45 ACP. And because they're a smaller bullet and more bonded, more powerful bullet, they tend to perform better when they hit barriers too than the 45 ACP. The wide, flat face of the 45 ACP, especially with hollow points, tends not to do as well with hard barriers as the 40. The 40 is just not weaker than the 45. So I don't know why people think that. I think a lot of people are pushed into thinking that by these jackasses like to say, oh, the 40 Smith & Wesson is the 40 short and weak. They say that because it's shorter than a 10mm and weaker than a 10mm. Well, yeah, it is weaker than a 10mm, but it's and shorter than a 10mm, but it's longer than a 9mm and more powerful than a 45 ACP. I mean, if you use that same logic, you'd have to say, well, since 357 Magnum is not as powerful as 44 Magnum, then it's not 357 Magnum, it's 357 Magnum or something. I don't know, something really ridiculous like that. Just simply because there's another round that's more powerful than it. And yeah, the 10mm is more powerful than the 40 Smith & Wesson. But that was the problem with the 10mm. A lot of people couldn't handle it in a semi-automatic gun. It was too much for them. So the 40 was a round they made based on the 10mm that was more manageable in most people's hands. And sometimes a less powerful round that manages better is more effective than a more powerful round that you can't manage very well. So it is not short and weak. There's nothing short and weak about it. It's also definitely, like I say, not between the 9mm and the 45 ACP. A lot of people like to put it there simply because it's a 40 and then there's 45, so it's a lower number, so obviously it's in between. And it is a physically smaller round than the 45 ACP, physically larger than the 9mm, so they think it belongs there in the middle. But if you were ranking them by performance, the 40 would be after the 45 because it's more powerful than 45. Now, you can get 45 ACPs in plus P configurations, which get up and match the 40 and even exceed the 40 Smith & Wesson in the standard loadings, but you can get 40 Smith & Wesson in plus P loadings that start outperforming the 45 ACP plus Ps. So in the end, the 40 is still more powerful. And plus, another thing you might want to keep in mind about those 45 ACP plus Ps you see. Pretty much every manufacturer that makes them puts a nice little disclaimer on their page that says, hey, if you're going to buy more than one box of these and then you're going to actually shoot them through your carry gun, you might want to change this, and this so that your gun doesn't blow up on you. So the guns just aren't made to handle those rounds from the factory. So you got to do some changes. And most people are dealing with right-off-the-shelf ammunition and right-off-the-shelf guns. So they are better to stick with standard 45 ACP and standard 40 Smith & Wesson. That way they're not running into any performance problems. And when you do that, you're still going to be a winner with the 40. It's going to be a more powerful, more potent round. It's going to perform better. Like I say, it's going to hit with more force pounds over less area. It's going to penetrate better. It's just better. Especially a bonded 40 caliber bullet is just going to be a better performer than a 45 ACP. It often feeds a lot better in a lot of rounds too, since it's in a lot of guns too, since it's not as big a face on it. So it's just, in my opinion, better at most things than the 45 ACP. And on paper, it's better than most things. That's just a fact. My opinion, on paper, it's better at most things than the 45 ACP. So it definitely doesn't deserve to be in between those two. But you got to think, the 40 Smith & Wesson might be short and weak, people like to say, but a strong 40 is getting right up in there in the beginning territory of 357 Magnum range. That's definitely not weak. Now the 10mm, the bigger version, of course, will get right up in there with the more potent 357 Magnums. But the 40 getting into the lower 357 Magnum range means it's definitely not weak. So in the end, the 40 Smith & Wesson definitely isn't a short and weak round. Like I say, it's longer than 9mm, more powerful than 45. So it's not short and weak. That's just ridiculous. It's something people like to say because they think it sounds funny. And it's definitely not between the 9mm and the 45 as far as performance is concerned. It will outperform both of them. So in the end, I have to say the 40 Smith & Wesson is not a good compromise round. It's just a good round, period. In fact, it's one of the best carry rounds you could possibly choose.